Thank you everyone for being here today. Welcome to our new webinar. Today's host is Kashif Ali. Before we start the presentation, I just want to mention that Kashif was the top webinar host of last year. He had many sessions and all of them excellent. Thank you, Kashif, and congratulations for your well-deserved award, of course.
Thanks a lot.
No, we thank you. You are one of the top elite users in this community. Thank you for becoming a webinar host this year as well. It's always a pleasure to work with you. So I wanted to thank you publicly for this. Thanks everyone for joining our webinars. As you know, we try to have different topics every month that cover different Huawei products and solutions. And we also try to find the best webinar hosts. As I said in the beginning, if you have any questions during the live webinar, please use the chat to write your questions there. And after Kashif ends his part of the presentation, we will also have a live Q&A where you are welcome to ask your questions. Okay, so please use the chat, and a bit later, I will also present you again the activities we have prepared for you today. Today's topic, as you already know, is FusionCompute Snapshot technology. Now I think I will let Kashif take over and just say a few words about his experience. So thank you again, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Alina, and thank you all for attending this webinar. My name is Kashif. I'm working as a solution architect at Techaccess, Pakistan, and I have more than 17 years of experience on different technologies like server, storage, network, cloud, virtualization, backup, and disaster recovery. And I'm working with Huawei from a long time, and I have 2 HCIE certification as well. One is cloud and other is storage. And we are the partner in Pakistan for Huawei. So this was just a brief introduction about me. So let's start the presentation. Okay, what will you learn in this webinar? So our today's topic is basic concept of snapshot and how we can use snapshot technology in the FusionCompute. In every virtualization technology, there's a technology use snapshot to take a snapshot of the VMs. So in FusionCompute, we also have this feature available. So we will see what are the basic concept of a snapshot and how we can use it, and what are the benefits and how we can take advantages of using snapshots. Then we will see how we can create snapshot, how we can use common snapshots, consistency snapshots, and memory snapshots. These are the 3 different type of snapshot in FusionCompute. We will see what are the differences between them and how we can use it, and what are the best usage to use different type of snapshots. And we will see in a lab as well. We will try it and we will see how it works. And we will see the working principle of the snapshots, that how snapshot works and how it saves the data. Then we will see some limitations of the snapshot. Obviously, if you are using a feature of any type of application or any virtualization platform, so there will be some limitation as well. So you have to keep in mind that whenever you taking a snapshot, so you have to keep these limitations in mind, and you have to use it within these limits. And then we will see some restoration. Sorry, I have some issue with my throat, so sorry for that. So we will see some restoration, how we can restore the snapshot in different use cases. What are the use cases, in which scenarios we can take snapshots and we restore the snapshot. So we will see that as well. And we will see the behavior of the snapshot as well, that whenever you delete the snapshot or you create a snapshot, so what is happening in the background. And we will see the status of the VM as well in lab, that when we are creating a snapshot or deleting a snapshot, so what happened to the VM. So we will see what is happening to the VM itself. So we will see that as well. Okay, what will be included in this webinar? So as I have discussed that the main topic of this webinar is VM snapshot and how we can use it. So this is all about the VM snapshot. And then we have a session in lab. So it will be a small lab. I will show you how we can create snapshot and how we can test the snapshot, that how it is working. And we will see the different type of snapshot and its behavior. That's how it is working. And we will test it, all the different type of snapshots. And then we will have live question and answer session. I will try my best to answer your question, and we will select 3 best answer as well in this. So you will get some high coins as well. So please bear with me. And at the end of the session, Alina will be posting 3 questions on the forum. So you can participate in that as well if you answer correctly of these 3 questions. So you will have a chance as well to win some more high coins. Okay, so let's start. What is a VM snapshot? Actually, VM snapshot is a picture of your current VM status. For example, if you are running this, let me add the pen. So for example, you are using this VM. So in VM, what we have memory, CPU, and disk, and there are some configuration as well of on the FusionCompute level, like network configuration and the devices as well. So whenever you take a snapshot, so in the running VM, your memory, CPU, and disk, all the content will be saved into the disk. So whenever you want to go back to the old status, so you can restore your snapshot to go back to the VM or original status. So this is, you can say it's like a picture. That's why there's a camera. You're taking a picture. So it's a specific point in time snapshot. So whenever you take a snapshot, so it will create another disk and it will store your data into the disk. And whenever you want to go back, you can restore your snapshot to go back to your previous status. But this is just for a quick backup and restore. So you cannot consider this as a backup. So usually it is used for the development testing or just for temporary duration backup. So it is a quick way to back up your VM and restore your VM very quickly. So basically it is called snapshot. So you can say it's a picture of specific point of time. So let's see how it works. So whenever you click a snapshot, so when you take a snapshot, the current disk is set to read only. So this is in read only mode. You cannot write to this anymore. There will be another disk created on the same data store. So this, now all the read write and all the operation is redirected to this disk. So this is an empty disk. The new incremental data will be stored to this disk, and the original disk will be in the read only mode. So whenever you want to restore your previous status or environment, you have to restore this disk to the original disk. You have to restore the backup. So when you delete this snapshot, so it will automatically merge your data to the original disk, and this disk will be deleted. But when you restore the snapshot, so the original disk will be there, but it will go back to the previous status. So you can in this way you can go back quickly to your previous environment. And whenever you create another snapshot, you can create multiple snapshots. We have around 32. We have limit of 32 snapshots, so you can create a 32 snapshot per VM. But whenever you create another snapshot, so this disk will be also in read-only mode. These 2 disks will be in read-only mode. So another disk will be created, and all the read-write operation will be redirected to the second disk. And for other snapshot as well. So whenever you create a snapshot, so the previous disk will go to the read-only mode, and the new delta disk will be created, and all your data will be redirected to the new delta disk. So in this way, you can create multiple snapshot. And obviously, you will need some space to create these disks. In coming slide, I will discuss. what are the requirements for space as well. So snapshot types. Now we have multi-type of snapshots. So let's see what are the types available. The first one is common snapshot. A common snapshot is a very common snapshot. When you create a common snapshot, so it will save your hard disk data, your configuration, but it will not include the virtual machine memory and running processes. Because, for example, if you have virtual machine running, app is running on the virtual machine, and you create a snapshot, so it will save your snapshot here, but it is like just a snapshot. And for example, if you take a snapshot and you restore it back, so it will like your system is rebooted to your previous configuration. So it's like a reboot of the machine. So whenever you reboot a machine, so it doesn't take care of the memory, it doesn't care of the data is currently being written on the disk, so it will just reboot abnormally. So we cannot guarantee that your data will be consistent or not, because maybe in that specific time, the application is writing data on the disk. So we cannot guarantee that the data is consistent. So it's just a common snapshot. You can restore it. Your VM will be up and running, but it doesn't guarantee that your memory data and your disk data will be stored at the time of the snapshot. So this is not consistent snapshot. This is very common. Maybe if you want to do some testing, so you can take the snapshot if there's no data or memory involvement, so you can use this one. So this one takes less time than the other snapshots. The other one is consistency snapshot. What is consistency snapshot? Sometimes there's a data in the cache and the operating system is trying to write on the disk. So when you create a consistency snapshot, so first it will save the data on the disk and then it will take a snapshot. So your data will be consistent on the disk. So this is called a consistency snapshot. But in this snapshot, your memory data will also be not stored. So this is just for the file system. Your file system will be consistent. It depends. Maybe you don't need the memory data. You just need that the disk data should be consistent and saved properly. So this is called consistency snapshot. The third one is memory snapshot. In memory snapshot, whatever is in your memory, it will save your memory status into the disk as well. So whenever you restore your snapshot, you will get the same thing whichever was running or at that time. For example, in VM, you have I'll give you a simple example. I will test in lab as well. You are running a notepad and you write something in the notepad and you take a snapshot and then restore it. You will get the same interface, and if you have written something in the notepad, you will see that as well. We will test it in the lab. So you will get all the content in the memory. So your memory information will be also saved in the disk. So whenever you want to restore it, you will get the same thing again. So these are the three types of snapshots. So it depends on the requirements. It depends on the application as well. If you don't need the memory or the disk data consistency, you can use common snapshot. If your importance is on the disk, so you can use consistency snapshot. And if you want to save the memory as well, so you can use memory snapshot. But in consistency snapshot and memory snapshot, you have to select one. You cannot use both of them at the same time. I will show you in the lab as well that how we can do this. Okay, let's see what are the best practices for snapshot. Okay, snapshot is not actually a backup. Snapshot file differ from the backups. A snapshot is meant to be quick save feature and allow you to revert the older states in case of something goes wrong. So actually, this is not up to some patches on the operating system level, or maybe you are doing some software development. So you can use this snapshot as a backup, but as a backup, you cannot use it, because we will see in the coming slide that what are the differences between backup and snapshot, because backup have different case scenarios, and snapshot is very different. Snapshot is for temporary protection and backup is for long-term protection. So please don't rely on the snapshot as a backup, because your original disk, for example, this is your disk, this is your data store. and you take a snapshot. So your snapshot, this is also reside on this data store. If something goes wrong with the storage, so your all data will be gone. So that's why please don't rely on the snapshot as a backup. Let me erase this. Okay. Okay. As we know, in Fusion Compute, we have up to 32 snapshot per machine, but it is recommended, or you have to only keep 2 or 3 snapshot per chain. This is recommended for better performance. Please do not take snapshot around 32 or maybe within 32. So once you have done your testing, everything is working fine. So you can delete your snapshot and go back to your original list. Please do not keep more than 3 snapshot per chain. So this is a best practice. So I'm getting a lot of calls from customers that we are unable to manage snapshot. So I have instructed them that please do not keep 2 or 3 snapshot per chain. Just keep 2 or 3, not more than that. It will create some problems for you in future. Why? Because when you create a snapshot, it will redirect all the data to the incremental disk. So your incremental disk will be growing. So in future, it will have some lot of data. So when you try to delete that snapshot, it will take some time and will impact your performance as well. And maybe it fails to copy it. So it depends. Maybe you will getting some errors. So it is not good that you have to keep it for a long time or multiple copies. So the better option is to keep only 2 or 3 snapshots per chain. Okay, and the other one is, this is the very important. My recommendation is to please do not keep the snapshot more than 72 hours. Take a snapshot, do your testing. If everything is working, please delete your snapshot and go back to your original list. The snapshot is just for a temporary short time of backup. For example, you are doing testing, maybe you are doing some patching, you want to change some configuration. So you keep a snapshot of working environment, and then you test your environment. If it is working, please go back to your original disk. Please do not leave your snapshot for a long time. In starting, whenever you take a snapshot, so the incremental disk will be created, and you will have only some, I think a few megabyte space will be utilized. But in future, once you are keeping it for a long time, so your incremental this data will be increasing. So in future, it will create problem, and it will impact you on your storage space as well, and on performance as well. So the recommended best practices is to please remove your snapshot before 72 hours. So you can keep it between 72 hours, so it doesn't hurt you. And this is another best practice, that please you have option to keep 32 snapshot, but please do not keep more than 2 or 3 chains, because whenever you are taking snapshots, so your data store can be there will be some space issues, and if your space is full, so maybe your space sometime your snapshot is corrupted, or maybe your data sometime you will get some corruption because of the storage space issues. So please monitor your storage space, and according to a storage space, you can keep some snapshot, but the best practice is to keep 2 or 3 chains, and please remove your snapshot before it reach to 72 hours. These are the best practices. So if you follow this, you will never counter snapshot issues. If you are not following this, you will be always getting some errors, or you will be stuck in errors using these snapshots, because snapshot is not for the backup, it's just for temporary protection. So you have to follow these. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Can we consider snapshot as a backup tool replacement? I have already discussed it, but I want to test you guys that you are listening or not. Okay, if you think yes, please type yes in chat. If you think no, please type no in chat. Let me see if you are with me or not. Okay. So good, that's good. Everybody is saying no. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so this just mean that you are with me. Okay, why? Let's see why. Okay, this is just a comparison why the snapshot is not backup tool replacement. If you see in backup is for long data retention and snapshot is for short time data protection. In backup, we have different backup tools. We have to use different medium, like we have to add storage. Uh, it could be different storage because when you are copying a backup, so it should be on the different medium. So backup is used for long-term data retention. We can keep it for long-term. For months, it depends on the policy of the customer for how long time they are keeping it, the data. In some cases, there are some compliances, so they have to keep it for 1 year, 2 year, or maybe 5 years. But in snapshot, it is not possible. And for data capturing, backup capture all the data. Okay, let me get the laser. Okay, for data capturing, we have the backup will capture all the data, but the snapshot capture only the change data. As we discussed, whenever you are taking the snapshots, it will create another incremental disk. Only the change data will be written into the delta disk. So this is a difference. And backup capture all the data. So in backups, you have different options. You can get the incremental backup as well, but there are multiple policies. For example, customer is taking full backup weekly and incremental backups daily, and then full backup monthly. So in backup, we have different options. We can get all the data as well. If our source data is deleted, so we have all the data available and we can restore it back. But in snapshot, it is not possible. And compression in backup, compression can be used in backup technologies. We have different backup tools available, so we can use deduplication, compression, and all different features we can use it. But in snapshot, typically not compressed. It's just a simple data. And in backup, for storage space, we require more storage space than snapshot because we are copying all the data to the storage medium. So we need more space. We must have some space available for retention as well. So we have to calculate the retention period, the backup size, and according to that, the storage medium will be sized and it will be used with the backup software. But in snapshot, you need less storage because we are just keeping the incremental data. Whenever you take a snapshot, so it will create incremental disk, and it requires less than 10% space. So around 10%, yes, 10% should be available. But it is recommended to have some more space to avoid storage issues. And restoration time, backup will take long time. Obviously, you are restoring the backup from the backup medium. You have a backup server. It will travel over the network, maybe, and over the HCIE, and then you will restore the complete VM from the backup medium. So it will take a long time. But snapshot can be restored in seconds, maybe in minutes. It depends on the VM and disk size, and depend on the it depends on the delta disk as well, that for how much time you keep the data delta disk. So it will merge the data very quickly. Okay, a retention period. In backup, you can set different retention periods. You can keep it for years. It depends on your storage. So you can have option that you can keep it, but in snapshot, it's very small time of very shorter time. It's just for the temporary protection. And use cases, backup is used for disaster recovery and data retention, but snapshot is used for short-term prevention and testing purpose. So these are differences between backup and snapshot. So customer always confuse these two things, that snapshot is a backup, but snapshot is not a backup. So please keep in mind, use the right tool in the right way. Okay, in FusionCompute, how we can create a snapshot? Very easy, very user-friendly interface. I have delivered some webinars on FusionCompute, so you can check it from the Huawei support community forum as well. The recording is available. There's a YouTube channel of Huawei support community as well. And I have also a YouTube channel. So I'm adding also my webinar with the permission of Huawei. So all the recordings are available, and you can go and see if you want to learn about the FusionCompute, some other features. So you can check that as well. But this is a very user-friendly interface. You can easily create virtual machines. And then on the left, if you see, this is the Windows 10 machine. If you go to the snapshot menu, you just create snapshot. You can add name here, and you can add the description here. And here we have two options. One is memory snapshot, and the other is consistency snapshot. If I'm not taking these both, so it will create a common snapshot. So the common snapshot means it will just take a snapshot, but it will not consider the IOPS of the disk and the memory. So it will not will be checking the memory or the disk read write. So it will just take a snapshot. And whenever you restore it, it will be like just rebooted machine. But you can go to the previous stage as well. But it is not guaranteed that your data will be corrupted or not, but it's a snapshot. Snapshot will be restored. Your VM will be working. But if you take memory snapshot, so it will get the memory status as well, and will save the complete snapshot. If you take consistency snapshots, it will take care of the data as well. So this is very simple. Very simple. You can easily create snapshot from this menu. Okay, let's see what are the limitations of snapshot. First one is if a shared disk is attached, VM memory snapshot and consistency snapshot cannot be created. What is shared disk? If you work on the cluster, let me draw it. Actually, shared disk sometimes used in cluster. For example, this is a cluster environment, VM1 and VM2. So sometimes there are SAP environment, or maybe some other environment, they want to cluster two machines. So you need, in this case, you need a shared disk. You have to create a shared virtual disk, so both VMs can access it simultaneously. But for this, cluster is responsible. For example, this one is active, this one is passive. So once this machine goes down, so this will take over. So this machine can have also access to this shared disk. So sometime in clustering environment, you need to add shared disk to two VMs. So in this case, your snapshot will not work for VM memory snapshot and consistency snapshot. But you can create a common snapshot, but it will not create a snapshot for the shared disk. You can, because you have two disks sometimes. For example, this VM have also the operating system disk as well, OS. So you can restore the OS. This one will not be restored. So if it is not restored, it's not an issue, because this is a data disk. So you don't need to restore this. You can restore it from the backup software, or maybe you have the backup software configured, so you are taking backup of the data. So you don't need to take backup of this data disk. So that's why it's not this is not a big issue. You can take a backup of your operating system. Operating system is important. So if you want to do some changes on operating system level or application level, so you can get the snapshot of the operating system disk. Okay. So this is one limitation. The other one is a maximum of 32 snapshot can be created. As we discussed, we can create only 32 snapshot per VM. But it is not recommended to have 32 snapshot. As we already discussed, that you just keep 2 or 3 snapshot per chain. This is the best practice. But if you are taking, you can take it. But after 32, you have to delete some of the snapshot to take more snapshots. Okay, this is very important. If you have data store where the VM is reside on that data store, so you must have more than 10% of the space available to take a snapshot. If you have less than 10% of space available on the same data store, your snapshot will be failed, and you will be stuck, and maybe you can get some serious errors. So it is recommended to have some space for snapshots. because the snapshot will create some delta disk and it required disk space. And sometime if you don't have the space and you want to delete snapshots, you will also get an error that you need some space to delete the snapshot, because it will try to merge the disk. So it will also require some space. So if you are stuck in this scenario, you have to extend the data store. You can go to the product documentation and you can see that how we can extend the data store. So if once you extend the data store, you can do that. So it's not a big issue. You can do that by that way. Okay, a snapshot can be created only VM that use advanced. Okay, these are just requirement if you are using advanced SAN storage, Huawei distribution block storage, virtualized SAN storage, or SAN storage. So you can create snapshot for these type of storages. When you are configuring the storage and disk, you have to take care of this. Okay, when you are creating a snapshot for a running VM will be paused. Yeah, this is a very tricky option, because you are taking the snapshot, so you are not feeling that the VM is paused, but in actual there's a small delay. I will show it to you in the lab that we will ping it. You will get a small delay, but it depends on the disk size. There's a formula in the documentation. If you want to know about the more details of the formula, you can go to the FusionCompute documentation. You will see there's a formula that if the disk size, all the configuration like this, so it will be paused for this much time. So whenever you are taking a snapshot, so your VM will be paused for a small time. So it just pause for a second, maybe for a nanosecond, but we will see in the lab. I will show it to you. I will share experience with you. If you are using a backup software and you are taking a backup of the cluster machine. So sometimes cluster panics, because whenever a snapshot is triggered, there's a pause on the cluster. So you have to use different technologies to manage it. So there are different cases where I have to use some different technologies to avoid these issues. But the VM will be paused for a small amount of time. Okay, there's one more limitation. If you want to take a memory snapshot, in one host you have multiple VMs. So at a time you can create only one memory snapshot for a VM on a host. If you have multiple hosts, so you can do multiple snapshot, but on one host, if you have multiple VMs and you want to take a memory snapshot at a time, so it is not possible. You have to wait, the first one is completed, then you can create another one. So this is just okay. These are also some limitation. The consistency snapshot, it can be created only the following are met. So the VM does not have the shared disk attached, already disks, and virtualized local disk, virtualized SAN, Huawei distributed storage, or NAS. These are supported with the consistency snapshot. So these are some limitation. So whenever you are taking snapshot and you are facing issues, so you have to take care of these. All these limitation can be, you can check it from the product documentation. You can go to the Huawei's support portal and search for the FusionCompute and go to the documentation. You will see, you will see all the documentation is available there. You can go to the product documentation and you can get all these details from there. So you can get the limitation, all these things can be checked from there. So it's very easy. How to, in which cases we have to restore a snapshot? This is already we discussed that this is just a temporary backup. This is a use case. If you want to keep a temporary backup of your virtual machine, so you can keep it. And if you want to restore it, you can restore it. But at the end, as we can see, it's still dependent on the host disk drive. So it's a temporary backup. It's not a backup. Backup means you are saving your data on other storage, and you are using some backup specialized tools and keeping your data on other storage. So this can be good for temporary backup, but not for the permanent backup. Another use case for development, as you know, if you are doing some development and you are working on an application and you are doing some changes on the application level or maybe in the coding level, there are more other tools are available for the development, but sometime you are using virtual machine. So in virtual machine, you can do different testing. You can test your code, you can develop your application, and if it is working and you want to do some changes, so before changing, you can take a snapshot. If after changing, you can test it, you can run it. If it is working, you can delete your snapshot. Otherwise, you can restore your snapshot, and you can go back to your previous environment. So it is very useful for the development as well. It is like a virtual sandbox. So it is very useful for development as well. And for testing as well, sometimes the application team doing some testing with different patch level, different operating system patch level, different application patch level. So they can test it, and they can create different type of snapshot on different level. So whenever they want to go back to any stage, they can go back to any stage. And it can be also useful for the operating system patches. Sometime in production, customer says that I need to patch my operating system, but for temporary, for quick backup, you can use the snapshot. Just take a snapshot, apply all the patches, test your application operating system. If everything is working fine, you can delete your snapshot before 72 hours, or you can go back to your original environment if there's something goes wrong. So it is very useful in these use cases.
Hello, Kashif. Okay. Kashif, can you hear me?
Yes, I was disconnected, I think.
Yes, I think you're disconnected.
Let me share it again.
Yes.
So what was the last slide? This one? Let me see in chat.
Yes, it might be an issue with the, maybe it was an issue with the webinar tool.
Can anyone confirm if you can see my screen and I'm audible?
We can see your screen. We can hear you as well.
So this one, I was on this slide, deleting snapshot.
For me, it was the previous one, the last slide I was able to see. Yeah, this one. If anyone can confirm in the chat if this was the last slide you were able to see before Kashif. Yes. Okay.
This one is covered. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the last slide we were able to see before you were.
Okay. So we can go to the next slide.
Sure.
Okay, so we were discussing that whenever we are deleting a snapshot, so whenever we are taking a snapshot, so we will there's a delta disk created. So if you are keeping it for a long time, so the delta disk will be growing, and it will have more data from the original disk. So once you are trying to delete a snapshot, so it will consolidate both disks together. So there will be a high IO performance issues on the storage, or maybe you will get some performance issues. There's an option if when you delete a snapshot, so there's an option you can set the speed for the deleting. So this is a very good feature in FusionCompute. It is not available in VMware, but it is available in FusionCompute. We can set the speed that how much speed we can dedicate it to the deletion, because if your application is running and you don't want to impact the performance of the application, so you can low prioritize your deletion process. So it is possible. We can set it. I will show it to you in the lab as well. And it depends on the data size of the snapshot. If the snapshot is big, so it will take a long time to delete and to merge. And it will also impact on the storage performance. So I have a question for you guys. Can you please tell me, it is possible to delete a child snapshot while the parent exists? If I have, for example, if I have, this is the original list, this is the snapshot, and this is this is the second snapshot. Can I delete this one? If you think yes, please type Y in chat. If you think no, please type no N in chat. So let's see what are the answers. Okay, mostly say yes. Okay, it is possible. You can delete. You can delete this because it will automatically manage to consolidate all the data. So you don't need to worry about the parent and child. It will automatically manage it. So the answer is yes, we can delete it. Okay, so okay, let's go to the lab. Let me go to the lab and see. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are. It says it's connecting.
Okay, okay. Let me try to connect to the lab. My lab is remotely, so let me try. Okay, we are logged in. So I have FusionCompute installed and I have one CNA and I have created one VM for you guys so we can test it. So let me see. Lab is a little bit slow, so you have to wait.
Okay. I see there's someone who raised their hand for a question. Seth Smith, do you have a question? You can also use the chat if you have a question. Okay.
Yeah, I can ask. It's not a demo cloud. I have a physical machine. I have installed it. There's a question that this is a physical machine or demo cloud. So this is a physical machine. I have installed it on the physical machine, and this is a Huawei server, and I'm using it for the FusionCompute. Okay, let's see. So I have a management cluster, and I have one CNA. It's a VRM Windows, and I have a Windows 10 VM. Okay, this Windows 10 VM IP is 202. So I'm pinging it. It is machine is on, and I'm able to ping it. So let's see if these are snapshots. So I have already taken some snapshot. Okay, let's create some more snapshots. Let's log into this VM. Someone is writing on the screen. disable it. Okay, this is a Windows machine. I have installed it. And for example, if you want to take a snapshot, common snapshot. So in running machine, you can take a common snapshot, but it will be rebooted. Let's see. Let me create a snapshot. I will take a common snapshot. I'm not using the memory or consistency. So it's a common snapshot. Okay, let's see what happened. The machine is pingable. Let me create this. It will create a snapshot. So let's see. See the machine. We get a timeout, but it is rebooted. We just see one timeout. A snapshot is created, but the machine is rebooted. Very quick. So it's a very small. You can see very small downtime, but it's a common snapshot. The machine is rebooted, and we have the snapshot available. Okay. Now I want to try the memory snapshot. For example, this is a machine. Let me open the notepad. Let me write memory snapshot. If I'm taking the memory snapshot. So once the machine is come back, so I will get the same screen. I will close it, and then I will try to restore it. Let's get the memory snapshot. There will be a very small delay. VM will be very small delay. When we are taking a snapshot, the machine will be paused for very small. Pardon, I just said that Windows 10 was rebooted. It was not rebooted in the common as well. In common, it just took a small duration to pause it. When you are restoring it, so it will be restarted. In taking snapshot, it will not restart. In restoring, it will be restarted. So this is a small delay while we are taking a snapshot. So now let's see restore this one. What will happen? I will close this. Let me close this. So I don't have anything in memory right now. So let me restore this memory snapshot. So I will get back to the same situation. So I have a new common and I have a memory snapshot. Let me restore this one. So here we don't have the restore option. We have the resume VM option. So we will resume the VM. So let's see. Yeah, in this case, machine will be rebooted and will come back into the original location. In restoring, the machine will reboot in all cases. So once the machine is up, we will see now the machine is up. It's pingable now. We will see if we can go back to the see. I didn't save this notepad configuration. I just restore the snapshot. So it means that whatever was in the memory was restored in the snapshot. So I can go back to the previous status very easily. So this is the memory snapshot. And for for consistency snapshot, we cannot test it because we don't have IOPS available, but it will create. You can create the consistency snapshot if you want to save the. If there's a lot of IOPS running on and you want to save the data, so you can use this one. Is there any question? Okay, so this was just a small demo. you can create very easily the snapshots, and you can create different type of snapshot. You can use common snapshot. It depends on your requirement, that what you need to save in your snapshot, because if you are taking the memory snapshots, it will take longer time, and it will need some space as well. So it depends on your requirement. So Alina, I think we should go to the question and answer. I think this lab is completed now.
Yeah, sure. I see there were already some questions. I'm not sure if you had time to check the chat.
Let me check.
You can see that there are some questions there.
Let me see.
But before you have time to check the chat, I just want to mention, so what Kashif is talking about is the Q&A, live Q&A I mentioned in the beginning. You are welcome to share your questions here, but also if you want to win some high coins, please make sure to share the questions in the community as well. I will share the link again. Please check the chat. I shared the link. This is the webinar post. If you have some questions that are related to this topic, please leave a comment with your question under this post, okay?
Let me see the.
Okay.
Let me see the question.
Yeah, you can check, take some time to check the chat if there are some questions that were not answered, but please, Kashif, only if they're relevant to the topic, okay?
Let me check.
Sure.
There are a lot of questions.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so we'll start from half engineer. He's saying provide the demo link. No, this lab is not available online. This is, I have created for this session only. So you can I think there's a lab available on the Huawei website, but I have to check. We'll share the links, but it will be not like this. Okay, half engineer question. If stop VM state is stop VM state of the VM is mandatory requirement to create common snapshot? No, it's not mandatory. You can create a common snapshot if the VM is running or stop, so it's not mandatory. Is there any simulation tool available for FusionCompute like FusionCube? No, it's not available. You have to install it. It's very easy. You can use a physical server and you can install it on the physical server. It's very easy. I have already delivered a webinar how to install FusionCompute on the physical server. So you can go and check. Okay, there's another question. Can I have a O file for FusionCompute? Yes, you can. For FusionCompute, you have to check. You can go to the support portal and download links to the software download links and check if there's OR files available. But I don't think so. Maybe it's not available. You have to check it. There's a question from Horabas. Which technology is used to create snapshot in FusionCompute? It is read direct on write or copy and write? Very good question. Actually, these technologies are used in storage snapshots, but you can say we are using similar to ROW because we are redirecting the writing to another disk and the original disk in read-only mode. So you can say it like read ROW. Okay, here's a question from Mudassir. Is there any practice hands-on environment of emulator? You have to install it on your physical server and then you can test it. It's not a big issue. If you have a Huawei server, you can install it very easily. If you don't have any idea, you can go to the previous webinars and you can get idea. You can get an idea. I have already discussed this, how to install it. Okay, there's a question from I can't see the full name, but if FAHA. There are different mode of the disk: independent disk, independent persistent disk, and non-persistent disk. In independent disk, if you take a snapshot, so independent disk will be included in the snapshot, but dependent disk, sorry, independent disk will be not included in the snapshot. So there are three different disks. Independent persistent disk means that data will be saved permanently, and in the independent non-persistent disk, when the VM is rebooted, the data will be lost. But if you have independent persistent or independent non-persistent disk within the VM, and you are taking snapshot and you are restoring the snapshot, so you will be not getting the data in independent persistent disk or non-persistent disk. These are not included in snapshot. So this is your answer of your question, that independent persistent disk and non-persistent disk, these are not included in the snapshot. So whenever you restore the snapshot, the data will be not there. It's a very good question. Okay, let me check more question. Okay, here's a question. How does FusionCompute Snapshot technology work, and what are some use cases using? I have already discussed these in the webinar.
Let's just take the questions that were not already covered in this webinar, okay? Because it doesn't make sense to repeat information.
Yes. Okay, let me check some. Yeah, some not relevant question. Already discussed. Some questions are already in the. Some questions are already addressed in the webinar. Let's see. Let's see. Some lot of questions I have already addressed in the webinar.
Okay, then everyone, if you're not
If
able
if someone has question, please raise your hand and you can ask.
Yes, you can also use the raise hand option. You can ask Kashif directly. Please don't ask questions that were already covered in the webinar, okay? Let's see. Hello? Can you hear me? Mukadas, I think.
I want to ask, is there any difference in the size of the snapshots taken while the VM is running, and then the snapshot of the VM when it is in pause state?
Is there any difference? Yeah, there's a question from Mukadas. Is there any difference in size of snapshot taking while VM is running, then the snapshot taken? If the VM is running, if you are taking a memory snapshot, so obviously the snapshot size will be larger than the stop VM, because maybe there are some lot of data in the memory. So yes, there may be differences. So it's a very good question. Yes, Mukaddas. Is it Mukaddas? Yes, Mukaddas. Okay.
Thanks.
So it depends on the snapshot type. If you are taking memory snapshots, so the size will be increased from the normal VM snapshot, or if the VM is stopped, so obviously the size will be different.
Does anyone else want to use the raise hand option to ask the question?
In chat, there are a lot of questions. So
I know.
Some are already addressed.
If they have already been addressed, we will not.
And some are some are related to the version and some other things.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
we we will take into account only the ones that have not already been covered or that are
you can
relatable.
they can also put it on the forum as well. We can answer it.
Yes, sure. It's actually recommended to put the question in the forum because you can also win the rewards, and also we will be able to check later.
If anyone have a question, please raise your hand and we can unmute your mic. You can ask.
Okay. Hi, Kurabas. Can you hear me?
Which technology is used in VM snapshot? Does it use row or cow technology?
Yes, Hora, I have already answered this very good question. Actually, these technologies are used in a storage snapshot. If you go to the storage courses, so you will see about the ROW and COW. But it is similar to the VM technology, is similar to the ROW. It redirect the read-write to the another disk, and the source is in the read-only mode. So you can say it ROW. Very good question.
Anyone else wants to ask a question now? Is anything left unclear? Of course, you can use the forum. You can leave your questions there, and Kashif can check the questions later and answer in the community as well. But only if it's maybe a more urgent question related to the topic. If not, then we can move to the.
Yes.
There's another question from Half Engineer. You can check it and see if it was already answered or not.
In
Yes,
chat.
in chat. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Half Engineer is asking, can I create snapshot for VM that use local storage type or local? No, it's not supported. It is not supported. If any have question, please. I'm unable to read all the questions because there are a lot of questions. I'm trying, but.
Don't worry. We can also, you can maybe check them later in the community.
Okay, I have a question from Fahad, I think. I have Huawei storage 2600 on backup solution. AutoCater delete snapshot rapidly, but cannot delete sometime due to snapshot size. Okay, it's a very good question. Actually, the backup software usually use the snapshot technology. The backup software doesn't do anything itself. It's just trigger a command to the virtualization platform, and it will use the snapshot technology. So your problem is not about the snapshot. It is about the backup software. The backup software send a command to the FusionSphere. It automatically get a snapshot, and then the read-only disk is copied to the repository. And then once the backup is completed, the snapshot is deleted. So you are facing a problem that whenever the backup is completed, so the backup software is unable to delete the snapshot, maybe due to unknown reason. In that case, your data store is filling, and you are getting storage issues. So the problem is with the backup software. So you have to take it with the backup software, that whenever the backup software is triggering the backup, so it is not deleting the snapshot. It is mandated to delete the snapshot because your storage space will be very low and you will be getting problems. So that's why your backup stuck, and sometimes your VM stuck. So you obviously you will be getting a lot of errors. This is a very good question, and a lot of customers are getting these issues. So very good question, this one. There's an option from, I think, the name is not complete. I don't know, Salam or Salman. Is there an option which we can create a consistency snapshot along with the memory? So there are two options. You can select only one. So it depends on your requirement. Maybe in future we can have this feature available.
Okay, let's take just please check the last two questions. One is from Technophobia, and the other one is from Half Engineer. And after that, we will stop the live Q&A session. Okay.
He's asking, the Half Engineer is asking, I'm facing an issue in the FusionCompute Snapshot of my production version, FusionCompute version this. I installed it in enterprise kernel. OS version does not support it. This snapshot I have. So it's the support issue. You can open a case with the Huawei tag, so they will help you. Maybe there are some issues with the operating system as well, because the VM tool should be supported, and there the disk types there are recommendation and supported configuration in the documentation. You can go to the documentation and can check that what are the requirements for snapshot to be successfully done. So you have to do that as well. And you, for the safe side, you can open an SR with the tag, so they will help you to resolve this issue. And last question.
There was one more. I'm not sure if maybe it's already covered as well. What can I do if a disk is not involved in a snapshot of a VM on Huawei FusionCompute?
The Technophobia, I think, what can I do if a disk is not involved in snapshot of a VM on? I didn't get the question. What can I do if a disk is not involved in a snapshot? If this is not included, or what you want to say? Can you please elaborate that what you want to ask? Okay, he's saying if I have taken a snapshot and this is deleted, so you cannot restore it, because it will point to the disk original disk. If this is not there, so it will not be restored. So
okay, I see someone else raised the hand. Do you want to? Hello? Can you hear me? Your nickname is user4901, so I'm not sure what's your name. So if you want to ask your question. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hello.
Fina, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Hanif here. Actually, I have a question with Kashif. Is there any limitation while creating a VM through FusionCompute with respect to the CPU, memory, and disk? Is there any limitation if I talk about the Windows platform or talking about the Linux platform? Is there any limitation?
or to import it to the FusionCompute?
Yes.
There's a limitation, but it's very, you can say that maybe 128 CPU are supported, or memory in TB, so it's not a big deal. Supported, you can move it easily. So there are limitations, but it's too much.
Okay. So it means it will vary from operating system to operating system, like Windows and Linux.
No, are all the same. For example, if there's a limitation on the virtualization platform that 128 vCPU are supported for only one VM, if you go to the documentation, so you can see that there will be limitation, obviously, that for one VM you can only assign this much of vCPU, this much of memory, and this much of disk. But sometimes it depends on the operating system as well. Sometimes operating system doesn't support, like Windows 10 or Windows 10 Professional, or maybe, so it depends on the operating system as well. If an operating system is not supporting more than 4 GB memory, so you cannot assign it. It will not work.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Kashif.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Do you think we should move to the questions? I think we can move. What do you say, Kashif?
Oh, I think there are a lot of questions. So I will request you guys to please put your relevant question on the forum, because a lot of questions I have already addressed on the webinar. And please put the relevant question to the snapshots only. So yes, we will help you to answer that on the forum as well.
Please just stick to questions that are relevant to the topic, okay? we will not reward the questions that are not relevant to the topic anyway. So please try to keep it relevant, okay? We want to make sure that we add value and we add more quality, okay? Then I think we can move to the next step and present the 3 questions, which
Okay.
are based on today's topic as well. So for everyone to know, this is a forum Q&A session. This is how we call it. Basically, you are invited to go here in this link I shared multiple times today. You are welcome to answer the 3 questions for a chance to win 600 High coins. If you are not here from the beginning, please know that High coins are the virtual currency of this community, which you can use in exchange for different physical items and regional gift cards. So if you are interested to participate in this activity, you can check the 3 questions. I will also update the post and add the questions there as well. So if you need more time before you answer, don't worry. And you should leave a comment below the post with the correct answer. So please try to post all the answers in the same comment, okay? It's easier for me to check the answers this way. Okay, this is the first one, a true or false type of question.
Yeah, this is the first question. It's a true, false. You have to answer it on the forum, and you will get some reward if you answer correct. And this is the second question.
Okay.
So you have to select the correct answers. And this one is the third one. So all these questions will be posted on the forum, so you can go and check and answer these questions.
Exactly. They will also be posted in this post I shared. You can see the link in the chat. I shared it a few times to make sure that everyone can see it. And as I said, you should answer in the forum, okay? So basically you need to leave a comment below this post with the correct answers if you want to participate in this activity. The questions are of course all based on today's webinar. So if you weren't able to attend the webinar from the beginning, please know that I will also upload the recording in this post. So make sure to save this post if you want to have access to the recording as well, okay? Okay, before we end, I also want to share the link to the survey. So if you have some feedback for us regarding today's webinar, but also our webinars in general, if you have some suggestions on topics that we should cover, and also if you have some recommendations for good speakers who would be able to become webinar hosts, that would be extremely helpful as well. So I welcome you to share. Yes, it's an Farin Ahmed. I saw that you say it's an old post. Basically, this is an ongoing activity. It's not a new activity for every webinar. We will keep the survey there. You can share your feedback. If you already shared, there's no need to share your feedback again unless you have maybe new suggestions or on topics or webinar hosts, okay? Okay, so this was it for today. Thanks everyone for attending. Thank you, Kashif, for presenting.
Thank you all.
I welcome everyone to share your answers and questions in the forum, and please follow us for more webinars and more activities in the future as well. I really appreciate you for being here today. Okay, the questions
Thank you all.
I will upload them in the post that I shared numerous times. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Have a nice day, evening ahead. Thank you.